So, poor gardeners, they're trying to do their work. Well, this piece of shit with 5VFF222. I just saw the movie Sisu. The side with the shade is got fucking covered up. Fucking piece of shit. But I'm making a post. I just wanted to make sure he knows I know I got a license plate. I think I got a picture of him before too. He's actually fucking Russian looking. Oh, I forget. But I just saw the movie Sisu. Oh, you know, while I'm here, so I got like 6 license plates, and this one I passed a lot. But today, just because of the spontaneity of the, I documented it. I've suspected for some time. Oh, look at, you know what? I see. That's worth getting too, because that makes me think of the other Tesla that they had. So it's kind of weird because the place where the Tesla was parked from October to, I believe it was, I got the date, but October to maybe mid-February at one spot, never moved. And that was after I took a video of them. These guys, there's 3 Armenian males that live in this, well, that appear to live in this one unit and have 3 different vehicles. And they so they were, it looked like they were attempting to modify the, if I had to guess, the surveillance equipment on the Tesla. So I got video of that. From that moment on, the Tesla stayed dormant in the space. So, but now they got a Lexus and they just sit in the space. But these two, I'm gonna have to go, oh, okay, because these are rentals, yeah. And this is how they do it. Like I say, using rental agency and rental cars is a super convenient way to maintain what they want to call like a cover. And this is how I claim that they use, and luxury cars, I claim is how they, the primary means of moving the stuff. See, here's the Russian guy. He's in the driver's seat. So the primary means of moving the product, and that's them looking at tucking out the window that I'm in Armenian, that I moved that I took their shit. So today it was like I got on the way there I got 3 plates. So, and then on the way back I got right when I came out, let me go back to right when I came out I got a 777 IL77, and then I was turning on the very street when I come out of the parking lot of the I got 2 on the way there. They were not 77s though, because I only published the 77s for the most part, because those obviously distinguish a code, a collective code, a unison's code, a coordinated code. So beyond that, the rest is just suspicion. Yeah, that's fine. Guilty by association, racial profiling, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. So, but when I came out, there was a black SUV. I don't know, Cadillac, GMC, something like that. Newer model that was turning. Ooh, got my super glue. Fix my sticks. It was turning left on to the street where the mall, little side street, mall parking lot. And then when I got to the school, I was on the other side of the school at first, but then there was a white one. Most of these vehicles are black. The vast majority of them are black. A couple of them are not black, but for the most part, they're mostly black. There was a white SUV, luxury SUV, parked in front of the school, and I had 777 IH77. So within, I mean, that's talking a couple blocks, there was 2 license plates, and the only distinguishing difference between them as far as the code goes was the letter L and the letter H. Everything else, 777 I, and then fill in the blank, 77 were identical. So and then this neighbor, like I said, I've seen the car there for, I don't know, probably as long as I lived here, going almost on 1.5 years. And because part of this too is I know that the role that the Armenian community has in dominating the welfare offices, and this is how I believe that the couple that stole $18 million in federal COVID relief funds and then were released without monitoring on bail in Los Angeles after being arrested in San Francisco. I believe that they got the information that they needed to pull that heist off from Armenians that work within the California DPSS system, because you get all the information. And the way that they would do that is that they would be taking pictures of selfies or something like that under the guise of taking selfies, but they would be stealing data because they can't download anything and they can't copy and they're not going to print anything. Or wearing some kind of, I mean, these glasses are not cameras. If I had glasses that were cameras, jeez, that would be fucking crazy. I can't believe I never invested in that. But so that's where I say this is another part of this. So with these license plates, like the one that's not a 777, but it's not a custom plate, and it has the triplicate feature. Not all of them have, there's a license plate right at the end of the block that's a regular person, and they got a unique triplicate, which is 666, which might sound ominous and whatever, and bad, and might want me to, somebody might suspect that, oh, I'm a paranoid person that only gets duplicate, triplicate license plates. But I use my judgment. That's what whatever my judgment is worth. So, but I am under the suspicion that just like this is the Russian mob. It's just a Armenian franchise of the Russian mob because of it's logistics. The Russian mob is bigger, it has more power, and by definition, the Armenian organized criminals, in order for them to operate with any kind of sense of security, they got to be an underling to the big brother, so to speak. This is we don't see it like this in America because of the La Cosa Nostra is the only Italian mafia that 99.8% of Americans know about. But there are several other mafias that are in Italy, mainland. The Sicilian mafia is the only Sicilian mafia in Italy. And part of their structure is, as much as they're Italian, they're not Italian because they're Sicilian. And that goes way back. And this is why people in the mainland of Italy actually refer to, that's my neighbor over there, I call him Bugs. He's one of them. I got his license plate too, because his letters are B-U-G. I don't think that's significant or anything like that. I mean, maybe it's his nickname, and that would be hilarious, but I don't think it is. It's just that he doesn't work He drives that car. He moved into this apartment after a couple moved out. There was an Armenian guy that I also felt worked for them probably. And I think that he's got to do it because I believe that this complex next to me is involved in manufacturing, having a clandestine lab. Because like one with this Tesla people, they're inside the apartment next door to me. That's parked across the street, but they're inside this one. And so like when I walked back down the block and came around, that I mean I don't speak Armenian, but I know that they're talking in one sense. Again, I'm a snitch because I report this to the public. They report to their superiors and to their peers, and they don't consider that snitching. They don't deal with it as a man one-on-one. They don't approach, confront, or combat me as an individual, and they won't do that shit. They will run to the fold like a sheep in the flock. They want to call themselves a pack of wolves, but the truth of the matter is, unless they're in a pack, they're sheep. So, oh, my bad, I got distracted there. So, so I do believe, let me see, that they're in the license plate, they're in the DMV, just as much as they are in the DPSS. Now, I don't know if that means that they have the ability to conceal stuff or make fraudulent plates, because I mean, I guess it's possible when I publicize the 777 plates, and I get pictures every now and then, but I figured for the most part that I don't need pictures because they're license plates. But now, it is reasonable to think at the scale of corruption that they have going and the influence that they have in various government agencies within California, that it's possible that all of these 777 plates are not even actual California license plates registered to anybody. I actually don't think that they're registered to individuals. I got a feeling that they're registered to some kind of corporate entity, because this is how their role in the illegal weed shops throughout LA, and I'm sure in other places, but for the most part, their illegal weed shops throughout LA has to do with the property owners, the ownership of the property, the titles of ownership. This is a legal term from this book, actually. Whatever. I got the book. So, titles of ownership. And, but without the participation of the owner of the property, the illegal weed shops don't have the ability to operate as freely as they do and as frequently as they do. But to show an example too of how they compete, how they do have competition. So people that aren't involved and don't know this, but want to make money and are greedy, they jump into it, so to speak, thinking, well, everybody else is doing it, because they don't understand it's organized. And this is LA. This is the 5th biggest economy on earth. So you could say that let's talk about the Italian mafia. So you could say that the organized crime in California specifically is going to be complementary or compensatory to the scale of the economy that they're suckling off of, so to speak. So it's going to be some pretty advanced organized crime. So there's a weed shop that tried to get started that were just regular white people that were thinking like, hey, well, everybody else is doing it, I'm going to go make some money. Because, I mean, they're reading the newspapers and they hear the community complaints and they see like, oh, you can't shut this shit down. The police just come in and they turn off the lights. Now, you can't have it in Burbank and you can't have it in Glendale. This shit does not fly at all. But right on the border of Burbank, so there's nothing in Burbank, because Burbank, this is a competition thing. This is two things. It's a competition thing, and it's a
It's a reputation type, a manufacturing of a type of a reputation of an image. Oh well, how come they don't have them in Burbank if the Armenians run them? How come they don't have them in Glendale if the Armenians run them? Okay, that's why they don't have them in Burbank or Glendale. So these white people, they came up with the novel idea like, hey, well, we're gonna try to be capitalistic and design our business model to cater to the demand that's in Burbank, so that the Burbank people don't have to go into North Hollywood. So they built one right on the frickin' border. I'm talking about, it's the like 3 stores away from a little side street. I forgot what the side street is, over by Toluca Lake, by like Ledge. It's a couple streets after Ledge or something like that. But this next street is the border for Burbank PD and LAPD NoHo division. So they set it up like 3 or 4 stores next to a daycare center too. That's how brazen they are. And within the first 2 months, they had 3 armed robberies, including the first 2, I believe, if I understand, because my friend, I don't know about friend, but I knew somebody that lived right there. They came in with assault rifles. The third one was some, what do you guess what it was? Now the other ones, they don't know what it was. It was some crazy black fool. And this is what they call a missile in prison. When they get somebody, when they want to cover something up, they just send a missile, which is somebody that's expendable. So they give this black fool a gun and they tell him go rob it. They don't expect him to succeed. They don't care if he succeeds. And he really doesn't care if he succeeds. And they just tell him, look, we'll take care of you. We'll put money on your books or some shit like that. We want to put these people out of business. The people that ran the shop, now the Burbank PD, this is a weird thing about jurisdiction, and I don't know if this is really true, but I can tell you the truth of the matter of the situation with all of these robberies. The Burbank PD did not in any way, shape, or form intervene or make any effort to like say, hey, you know, or like patrol that area or something like that, or monitor it or anything like that. And the guy, I don't know if it's the last guy, but the third guy, when he tried to leave, the police were in the area, so he went into the building and went up on top with his gun. He was armed, and they had to evacuate the nursery, which is not a plant nursery, but a daycare center that was right next to it, a little private daycare center. And those white people, though, they would not go out of business. I don't think they understood. Maybe they started to get the gist of it. Holy shit, maybe we bit off more than we could chew. But that's a little glimpse into organized crime. But the Armenian branch of the Russian mob is like the Sicilian branch, because the Italians in the mainland, they refer to the Sicilians as N-words. Because of 400 years, Morocco, or the Moors, they had Calabria, Sicily, and a whole bunch of other stuff too. They were the ones that up into Spain and shit like that. People don't understand the role that Morocco plays in the world. They just think it's a little cheap African country, but it's a very significant. In fact, just on a side note, when I saw John Wick 3, I just saw John Wick, whatever the new one is for. Yeah, the new one is for. And, and I'm anticipating I see a lot of Mithraism in all art now. And yeah, it was sure enough, like they're talking about how much he wants to pay for the price on his head. And he's like, $20 million. And he's like 25. And he's like 23. So, and then right after that, they're on a train, like a subway thing. And I mean, I do this all the time and I'm not right all the time. So I can't recount like, oh, I was wrong. But I can recount when I was right. So like they're on the train and they're traveling into the thing, and I'm like, oh, well, they're definitely going to. The train has to be number 23, just because of it's taking them into the underworld. And yeah, as soon as the number of the train came in, it was 023. I even saw this in Spike Lee's movie Red Hook Summer, as well as Denzel Washington's movie. Spike Lee's movie, he's at this thing that says, it's got like 223s. The address is like 223 and then 230 on it with a little line. So you got like addresses 223 to 230, something along that lines. And it might even been 223 to 233. because they're thrown in the 33. And then in Denzel Washington's movie about his first directorial debut, he's about this black guy that's going to meet his mother who abandoned him at birth. And, he got ghettofied and he was all struck with anger and rage. And when they go to the apartment to meet her for the first time, when he's like 28 years old or something like that, he's in the Navy, they go up to the 4th floor, and the first unit that they pass has gold numbers like stuck into the door, and it's unit number 44. But when they get to the mom's door, which is would technically have been unit 40, ooh, damn, look at this, he's squirting all over the place. Italiano sausages. Speaking of the Sicilians, this is well, no, it's not Sicilian. I didn't get the Sicilian sausage. Ooh, so, it should have technically been 40 because it was the first unit in the corner. They had stickers. They took off the gold numbers, which were actually stuck into the door, of the 44, and they put on just 2 stickers that were gold outlined with the black regular digits that said 23, and it was fitting. So the Sicilians. Now, because the reason we only know about them in America is because they're the weakest criminal organization in Italy. The Calabrian Nangrante and the Milanian Camorra are super mega crazy high power. I mean, all of Interpol and everything, they estimate that the Nangrante pulls in 50 to 60 billion dollars a year. And about 40% of that is just cocaine sales to white Europeans. And they're not even the big one because after, it was really hard to understand, but when the invasion of Afghanistan with NATO initially, what happened was the Taliban, just like when they took over this time, the first thing they did in 2000, the year 2001, when they took over, or they took over in 1999, they finally had full power in 2000. And then by 2001, they were able to enforce all of their laws. And the first thing they did is they banned opium production, transportation, and use and sales. And then the very next, within months, NATO invades. And according to the United Nations Narcotics Bureau, Division, whatever you want to call it, research, when the Taliban had control, they estimated that the opium production in Afghanistan represented 2% of the entire global market. The very first harvest season, which is winter. So we invaded in December, I believe, after September 11th. And that's basically the beginning of harvest season. The very next estimate in 2002, according to the United Nations, Afghanistan was producing 85% of the world's opium. And opium turns into heroin. So what gets lost in that interpretation is that's the Camorra. That's how powerful the Camorra is. The Camorra has total, absolute, or they had total, absolute, 100% monopoly on opium, Afghanistan opium. So that's the Nagrante with their 50 to 60 billion dollars is still child's play compared to the dominant economic force that the Camorra represents. Because what you guys cannot wrap your head around is that NATO, led by Skull and Bones, which was Bush and Cheney, both are Skull and Bones, Cheney's family has more Skull and Bones members than any other family with 9. He was supposed to be the 10th, but his alcoholism actually got him kicked out. He was such a bad alcoholic that he got kicked out of Yale in the first year, and which is kind of like me because my mom took me to a school that she worked at when I was in 7th grade because she thought it was going to keep me out of trouble. And it was really weird, the trouble, because I mean, the reason I was started getting into trouble, well, I mean, I was always getting in trouble because I was hyper, but I snitched on my 5th grade Jewish teacher, Mr. Schneider, for molesting the girls because he was touching on the girl that I like, Jamie Kalin. And then the school didn't want a controversy, so they just transferred me to another class and tried to brush it all under the rug. So, and then, I lost a sense of respect and esteem and all that kind of shit for the institution of public education. Oh, much better. I forgot I got that shit. So, I just like this. This is awesome. So, then, so I'm rebelling. You want to call it rebelling or revolting? I don't know which one you call it, because I think they're rebelling because they were just trying to cover up. And now that I know that I understand the role of him being Jewish. He taught there for 25 more years because my mom worked for the school district. And when I was still talking to her, she told me, she checked and it had already been 25 years. She said, the other day I was just thinking about that teacher. And she said, I checked, and she said, did you know he still works at Brentwood Elementary School? So, but she, in her mind, to be a good mother and whatever, she transferred me into the school that she works at, Sun Valley Junior High. And then within just barely half a semester, they had given her my papers to expel me. They call it expel out of the school because of the trouble that I was getting into. And because she was a school, the head clerk and the office manager, whatever you want to call it. So she put the papers to the side, and then she got on top of things and checked me out of the school, and then signed me into a school using my grandparents' address. So, okay, and that was, Dick Cheney. So yeah, the role that the Skull and Bones has is pretty freaking deep in this shit too. I call them because from what I've researched, they're basically, it's hard to, I mean, Italians, people really don't, people know that they're white, but people don't really see them as white. So it's kind of hard to recognize, like, people see organized crime in England, and there's no perception though in America of like a French mafia type thing or an English mafia type thing or a they just sent this kid out, poor kid. I've never seen him before, so he's with the Tesla motherfuckers. So they and that's one thing too. Armenians are different than Italians. They use their families in their organized crime, including their wives. Maybe that's equal opportunity employer. I consider it, and I believe the Italians would also consider it. But don't get me wrong, the Italians, the Nagrante and they do condition their kids to be anti-Italian, because it's a whole nother level of organized crime. It's more of the Nagrante is actually considered a cult in one sense, but it's not really a cult because it doesn't have a central figure, but it is more of a religious organization that institutes criminal values into their children to be anti-Italian. You're here, but you're not this. Whatever it is. No one's broken through because these ties are so deep. You get various levels of snitches that give information, but so you have, like, the Nagrante has Masonic rituals that you go through initiation to move up the ranks and stuff like that. That has to do with psychology because they make you feel special. They make you feel like they're giving you something. This is why secret societies have the same thing, because they have to convince you that they're giving you something that you wouldn't otherwise have. Meanwhile, if you get into Carl Jung, you understand that all of those structures are operating on the reverse. The more secrets they give you to keep, the more damage they're doing to you in your psyche, because they're basically, it's a submission move. Like if you're in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fight, you want to do So this is the girl that works at Ralph's. This is the second time she parked like this. And this is how I know that she's in on it too, because she parks normally just in the parking at Ralph's. I've lived, like I said, I've lived here. I just told you how long I lived here. The only time she's done this is she started doing this when I was tracking the girl from Oklahoma who had been coming around. Now she's gone because I called the animal control on her once she got a dog to try to make herself seem she couldn't be responsible with it. Well, because I kept posting everything about this girl from Oklahoma, she parked, and she's completely in the red zone right there too. She parked like that at 6:30, and I got my camera out and I filmed her, and I know who she is, so it's like she acts casual. She gets out of her car. She gets out of her car like she's going to work. I mean, looks like she's going to work. She has her apron on and all that kind of stuff. She smoked a cigarette. And then at 7:20, she comes back and she gets her car. So she only parked there just for the sake of, it's kind of like a baiting thing in one sense. They think it's a baiting thing because they think that they can prove that certain people are innocent, and that if I accuse random people, so to speak, that it discredits my overall or overarching theory on the scale of this operation happening within the United States. And but I've, bus drivers too, like I still have the proof of me filing a complaint because like I was at the Burbank station and waiting for the 96, and the 96 was just a layover. So when it came time for the bus to go, and I'm sitting at the bus stop, because I already knew when I brought the bus over, because the bus comes over the bridge that I took there, I saw the black guy that was a bus driver. He was like 6'2" or something like that. He was on his phone. He was looking down on his phone, and this was far away, okay? So he's down in the bus bay. He's on his phone. When the bus that I'm on goes over the hill, he turns and looks up at the bus and it goes down on his phone. So I'm already anticipating, oh shit, are they fucking telling this guy, giving him a heads up that I'm coming? So when I got there and I waited at the bus stop, at his bus stop, he just took off. But the catch is, where I really fucked with him, it was hilarious because his bus goes one route, and then within 1 minute, the bus behind him was also leaving their layover. And that bus goes, there was the 92, I think. So that bus goes as a more direct route. So I was able to get on the bus behind him and then be a stop ahead of him at the gas station, the mobile gas station on Glen Oaks. And I was like, what's the matter? You don't know how to stop? And he tried to get all fucking crazy because the catch is he was hoping to play the victim, so to speak, like, oh, this guy just gets on my bus out of the blue, and because that's how he's gonna do. He's a black guy. That's like they whine and fucking moan. That's the one thing they're fucking good at. So, but he was fucking shocked to see that I was fucking on the bus, and he was fucking pissed too because he felt fucking stupid. They gave him one assignment, he couldn't even complete it. That's a black man for you. So, and then there was another time too when I got on the bus and there was a Hispanic lady, and this was the time you had to have mask on. So I had my mask on because I was very thorough with fucking mask. I didn't fuck around with mask. I bought into the propaganda of mask. I still believe masks are fucking a sensible thing to do in public, like in Asian cultures. So so I get on the bus and I got my mask on, and I don't think my nose is that big. Actually, I still have the same mask too. What did I just see it at? Dang, I think I just saw it. Oh, perfect, right here. This one right here. So I had it like just like this on the bus. And I'm sitting towards the back of the bus, and there's like a plastic divider for this thing. And the lady 3 times she yelled, "Hey, you better put your mask on. If you don't put your mask on, I'm gonna call the police." And I was like, what are you talking about? I got my mask on. So I have that recorded too. I believe that I did post that. So I have that saved somewhere. But the aggression that she was showing, because that's when I started to realize, that's when I first started to realize the role that it was bigger than just gang members. And then, so I use that as evidence, like, hey, you know, this is just not, the people that we consider criminals are not the only ones involved in this criminal operation. There are regular people that are just as involved as criminal people, because they see it as opportunity, and is one of them. And she thinks that she can project innocence, and you know, she's a hardworking girl that has a job. Why would she want to be involved in organized crime? Well, she made her choice, and she thinks that she can project innocence in order to discredit my accusation that she herself is also participating in international terrorism, and therefore is guilty of treason in the United States, and therefore is legitimately, should be legally executed along with all the rest of the fucking terrorists that support Cartel Jalisco New Generation. She is definitely a new generation, and she should be hung or electrocuted or shot. However we're gonna get rid of these fools, she's not any more innocent than them. And this is just like the other girl that was with the Oklahoma. She wanted to look all like when she first started coming around. It was the April 3rd, and she was walking a pit bull, and she was walking it on the other side of the street, and it's basically right at that tree where that girl's parked. And she was trying to be. When I didn't say anything because I was making a video, sitting basically like this, but on my couch, and I see her out my window, and she stands out because the way that the pit bull is, and she has a pinch collar. It's just like it's a ghetto image in a not ghetto area. People don't, I'm sorry, whatever you want to call it, people don't treat their dogs like that in this area. And people don't, it's not a badge of honor or something like that to have a dog that's scary or intimidating. So, well, she's gonna actually leave her car in the red zone? Is she that brave? Nah, she ain't that brave. She is that brave. Look at that. She's that brazen. She wants to act. That's how she's gonna try to act all calm and casual. I think I'm gonna call parking enforcement. Oh dang! I might have to stop this video and call parking enforcement. Ah. Dang, I don't even know how they do that in Burbank. But that's how desperate they are to act. Why? Okay. So why would she park in the red on the corner? You see what I mean? Human behavior can interpret human behavior. That's the whole premise of the law. The foundation of the legal system is having a system to interpret human behavior so that you can make judgments and determine what's happening, what's going into the whole situation. Intention is, like in English common law, intention is the primary focal point. But that's because that's not necessarily, it sounds good. Like James Comey, I got a quote from James Comey when he was the FBI director under Obama, when all of that 2000, right under, no, was he under Obama? Yeah, under Obama made him the FBI director. So he was supposed to be investigating all the banks like the AIG and shit like that did the Bear Stearns, that did the Great Recession. And when he didn't prosecute any of them, he gave a speech at the New York Bar Association saying, oh, well, you know what? I have the quote. I got two phones. Well, you know what? In this country, we only prosecute people when we know what they did. When we know that what they were doing was wrong. It's English common law. But the whole premise it's all based on is a system to allow criminality, because there couldn't be a noble class, a ruling elite noble class, unless there were laws that they were able to exploit to create the apartheid system that allowed them to be the ruling elite. Because otherwise everybody would be subject to the law. So being able to prove intent is the component that's necessary to maintain a system of corruption, as opposed to the way that they market it, because we're run by English common law, and the way that they market it over here is that well, I'll show you right here. Unlike a drug case, which is about connecting people to a transaction, in nearly every white-collar case, it is clear who was involved in the transaction. The question is, what were they thinking? This goes with FTX too, right now, that Sam Bankman-Fried, yeah. What were they thinking? Stupidity is not a crime. Risky behavior isn't a crime, no matter how many innocent people got hurt by that stupidity, greed, or recklessness. In this country, we put people in jail when we prove they knew they were doing something criminally wrong. That's hard, but it's right. FBI Director James Comey, 2014. So, and this has to do with the that goes with another example. Is there's the let me see here. So, oh, perfect. This is going to be perfect. Sorry, this phone is slow. Come on. Oh, shoot. It's not connected to the internet. But, so yeah, so being able to prove intent is what allows, this is where the mafia is like, we're just regular businessmen. We're just regular businessmen. That was the whole thing when Bobby Kennedy, because before Bobby Kennedy, you had Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover, who was dominating for already had been running the FBI for 40 years. And for that entire time, he kept saying that there was no such thing as organized crime in America, and there's no such thing as a thing called the mafia. And then Bobby Kennedy came, well, Bobby Kennedy wasn't the one that actually do it. There was a fluke incident where the mafia guys were meeting at the estate of one of the bosses in a small little town, and then the local cops, they were the ones that got hip to game and took it upon themselves. They're Americans, real Americans, that were actually just pro-American. They didn't have any fraternal orders or anything like that, because all of those things are connected to European monarchy and rank and all this shit like that. And put it like this, the organized criminals, like the $50 billion that the Nagrante make, and the however 200 or 300 billion dollars, if not more, that the Camorra make, those are all in the same banks as the monarchs. Boy, this is fucking doing absolutely nothing. Crazy. Just fucking nothing. Look, it's not even moving. Shit. Here we go, finally. Motherfucker. Yeah, it's not letting me do any searches. So I'm trying to, because right now what I'm trying to do is I'm going to show you how intent is used to get away with crimes. And serious crimes. It's no joke crimes. And it sounds all good. And I mean, it makes sense that I can't fucking search with this phone. Fuck it, I'll go try my computer shit. Fucking totally. Look at that. You gonna let me fucking search? It's still saying offline. Look at it. It's not giving me my voice. It took away the microphone. Wow. Look at LA Sheriff run team hit by truck. So this is going to show you how the English common law is designed to supplement organized crime. And it's not just a chance. This is actually the way that it's meant to work. So, okay, here, I guess. Whittier, California. The driver of an SUV veered into the wrong lane and plowed through dozens of LA County Sheriff's Academy recruits running in formation during a training exercise, injuring 25 of the cadets, authorities said. Now, look at, that's interesting that they say injuring 25. 22 sheriff recruits on morning run injured. 25 injured. 25 injured. SUV slams in. 25 injured. More than 20 injured. Okay, so we're seeing this. Are you getting any serious? So I mean, they're injured. I guess that's bad. Wrong way driver hits LA. So let's dig in. So what? Some say 22 and some say 25. Why? Wait, what's the difference? What about those three? What happens to those three? A 22-year-old man was detained at the scene after plowing into a group of sheriff's department recruits running in formation and striking the light pole that authorities said might have saved lives. Okay, November 17, 2022. So you got right there. So training program at the nearby Stars Center. A witness said the recruits who often train in the neighborhood were in a 4-column formation when they were hit by an SUV that veered onto the wrong side of the road. 25 recruits were injured, including 5 in critical condition. Really? I could have sworn that they said 3 died. Several of the victims' families arrived at hospitals. Well, you know what? I remember when this thing first happened, and I could have sworn that they said 3 died. Because they even have video of it. So, but the way that the guy, he was released within 48 hours. I think it was actually within 24 hours, but I'm just trying to be whatever you want to call it. Less, I mean, I sound crazy anyways just by saying this, but a little less extremist. So he was released within 24 hours without any charges, case closed. And again, I know that there were
something loud. They were able to respond immediately, starting the triage to get 4 of the most injured out to the hospitals immediately. It was 75 recruits out running, divided into 4 groups, 25 recruits. Information when that 22-year-old male driver from Diamond Bar ran into them.
So the lawyer that got him off was an Armenian lawyer named, and the premise was that now reputation has something to do with law. And the premise was that because he had family that was involved in the police at some time, that, you know, that was, the lawyer could actually argue, hey, well, you know what? He doesn't have a reputation for being a criminal. Reputation, here goes from Black's Law Dictionary. Estimation in which one is held, the character imputed to a person in the neighborhood where he lives. State versus Bald Anzo. Good opinion, good or bad. General opinion, good or bad, held of a person by those of community in which he resides. State versus Kizia. And then character is made up of one thing. Character is made up of the things an individual actually is and does, whereas reputation is what people think of an individual is and what they say about him. So they could say about the guy that ran into him, oh, well, he's never had a criminal. He's never expressed any hatred towards the police. In fact, some of his family members were law enforcement officers. And then there was something to do with alluding to, well, he's been going through depression and was recently given a medication. So that got the whole thing dropped, because even though he did do a heinous act, they didn't prove that he did it intentionally. So therefore, they didn't charge him with anything, and he's scot-free right now. And I could have sworn that officers died. So, what else? I didn't plan on this being this long, but I've been doing hour longs anyways. Oh, so actually here, you can literally see. So if this is what I mean is for intention. This is how I read intention. If she's just a regular girl working at Ralph's on her break, why would she? Now, the couple things is one, why would she park in the red zone? Because she has no regard for the cost that it may bear upon her. Is that fair enough assessment? Somebody conveyed to her, look, park in front of his house because they want, I guess in one sense, they think, like I noticed that in this month of April, they've been using a lot more females. And so in one sense, they want to seem like I'm a woman hater and I'm being, oh, there's a 666 one. See, that's just a regular person. So, well, that's pretty interesting timing though. I don't even think they normally park there. They normally park over on that side because they live in the apartments that you can see through my window. Those apartments back there. So, but the reason she would park there as a regular person, because how many regular people that are, only have a job at Ralph's can afford a ticket in the red zone or potentially getting towed? So this is why we have red zones, to discourage people from doing it. But if you're told, hey, don't worry, we have financial resources for you. Plus, if you do this, whether you get towed or not, we're going to give you an additional bonus. And this is what I mean is the cartel Jalisco's economy that they created. So actually, there's a really good one here too. I'll show you a video because this is what I'm talking about. So let me go to my YouTube here. Girl yelling while being recorded at Starbucks. Girl yelling while being recorded at Starbucks.
Girl yelling while being recorded at Starbucks.
Maybe I get into history. Oh, here we go. Okay, so my point is, this girl, she is like that girl over there. She has to have an income. Now, well, she's not, she's like her in the sense that she participates, but obviously you can see that.
Developments in the deadly crash on the 15 freeway this weekend.
You can see that the girl in the video, she sees people that work for $20 an hour to be pathetic losers. So she obviously does not have a job that pays more than $20 an hour. As you can see that her skill set and her demeanor don't provide her the necessary, capacity to maintain herself in a professional environment. So, but she has to have an income. She has to have a ready supply of money that gives her a sense of, I'm better than you poor ass motherfuckers working in here for a measly $20 an hour and some tips. So, god damn, I never seen that kind of car before. What is that, a new Porsche? So, this is what I'm saying is, there's different levels of this economy, and people participate on different levels. And this girl over here, the Ralph's girl, is participating at her ascribed voluntary level. And my goal has been to keep my videos under 60 minutes. And I got 6 minutes. I don't think I'm saying anything relevant anyways. But you know, while I'm here, let me just walk down, because I don't remember anybody getting out of that little the car with the 666 plate. So let's just, and you guys think I'm paranoid or shit like that. I sleep with my door like this and everything. So I'm alert. Oh, see, I locked that. I hate locking the bottom. I hate coming out this way because all these fucking mosquitoes live in this cool air. No, I don't think anybody's in it. Is there somebody still in the car? Well, if there is, I'm gonna put my phone like I'm talking on it, making a phone call. I think they got out. Yeah, I know. They got out. So, oh, where am I at now? 5 minutes. Oh, so like the girl in the video, she's got to make some kind of revenue, and to have that demeanor and that air. She this is how she acts in normal society. See, they're actually all up in that corner unit right there too. So this is the car that now they don't move. They took the spot of the Tesla. And that's my neighbor Bugs, the one I call Bugs. So I got a couple videos of him because I work out right here. This is the garage I work out. So it's the attitude though, part of the recruitment system is that, hey, that's part of the recruiting is, look, they know how many people, because I believe that it's conveyed through an app. So they're like, hey, you know, we've got, I think it's 3 to 8 million people participating in this network, if not more. And part of the recruitment is, look, if you join up, they'll never be able to catch us. And if you don't do nothing bad, then how are they ever going to prosecute you? If you don't, all you got to do is just participate on a low level. So like this girl is what you call a plant. So she'll go and do surveillance. She could be a lookout because she's got a clean record. She could park someplace like she's doing right now, and then just report police activity, so that if somebody's doing a smash and dash, or somebody's doing a deal or a pickup, they can have a sense of security and they don't have to rush. And then she gets her money, and then she still goes to work, and then it's just keep it simple. So, but then there's other people, and she's probably, you know, something to do with her family, this one right here. So she has got to still play the game with her family, that she's got a regular job and she's working and stuff like that. The girl in the video, obviously, in her sense, whether it's her family, I'm assuming, because from what I understand, this is like from what I can gather, Cartel Jalisco's U.S. operations are like 80% black people, which means there's a lot of them. And whole families get all each other in, because when one of them gets in, he doesn't think that you understand, they don't think that they're stupid for getting involved in it. They think that they're ingenious for getting involved in it. They're like, wow, this is the smartest thing I ever did. I'm making free money. There's no way I can ever get caught. And if I do get caught, they're going to pay whatever. They're going to incentivize me for the risk that I take. And they're going to incentivize me for something else just to keep me in the money. Meanwhile, this is all just scraps from the table of the cartel that's making. No one's ever said how much they suspect Cartel Jalisco is making, but I suspect that Cartel Jalisco is making somewhere between $15 to $30 billion. For a while, the cartel scene was considered this little guy here, because this car just pull. See, and they like to the street to eat. This is fucking hilarious shit. Like I said, it could be wrong. Oh, so I got 10 more seconds, and I think I'm done because I'm gonna eat anyways. But they believe that there's no way that America will ever be able to mount a response in order to retaliate or to stop them. And that's their primary recruiting thing. And so they believe that as far as in the nation goes, because law enforcement is not a threat to them. The only threat to them is public awareness. And the only potential problem with public awareness is me, because I'm the only one conveying this narrative. So as long as I'm a rogue nut and an isolated quack, and they could project even the minutest, market the minutest, oh, he's sexist, he's picking on girls, he's a bully, poor innocent girl, she's just parking her car when she goes to work in the red zone, that keeps distance between the general public, who I'm trying to inform of this operation, and me. So that they can say, oh, he's racist. He doesn't like black people. He's just accusing black people, which is funny because luckily I was going to delete this channel, but I can't delete it because I can't get into it anymore. But it's a YouTube channel that goes to 2016. And prior to me getting involved in this shit, I was what you call anti-cop, pro-black. That was big time. And my videos are still up, which is pretty hilarious because their defense or primary accusation is that, well, he's just a racist. He just hates black people. Maybe a black girl broke his heart or some shit like that. Or a black person cheated him, or a black person fired him. I never worked for a black person. I work with black people, and man, I gotta say they are lazy pieces of shit and useless. But Cartel Jalisco has found a use for them. And they feel special for having that use, and they're willing to give up anything to prove that they're useful to Cartel Jalisco new generation. Because they want to be the new generation. That's the key to their identity. If they lose that, they lose everything. And they tell their family members, don't you want to be a new generation too? They can't do anything to us. We're untouchable. What are they going to do? Are they going to arrest all of us? Even if they do catch us because they find out the network, they can't bust us all. They can't think of any potential response that threatens them. Apart from them being able to climb. Oh, well, I didn't mean to. I didn't know. I was just trying to make money. I'm just trying to survive. Like the girl in the video. You just get fucking $20 an hour? You get $20 an hour? I'm just trying to survive. That's how they're going to rely at the end. But ultimately, what I think is we need to get rid of English common law, and we need to establish American law. It doesn't have to be common law. We need to establish an American legal system that can identify people that are engaged in treasonous activities and allow American citizens to take the law into our own hands, yes, because that is the key to a civilian society. That's the difference between Anglo-Saxon monarchy systems in which you have classes that do specific jobs. A civilian society is supposed to be what we consider we the people. And that is the people step up to the ballpark. They enforce it's not national sovereignty, but their national independence, economic independence, and the public safety. Whatever rules are established. The public, and this is similar to like that Julian, this is not unheard of either, because like when Julian Assange was wanted, the catch is the country that he was wanted, I think it might be Sweden. The country that he was wanted in, the way it is there, they don't have a bar association. So like I can't, if there wasn't the bar association, I would be able to press charges on the people that I get their license plate and say I accuse them, go to court and do this whole shit and get subpoena power and say I accuse them of being part of organized crime. This is the basic premises. This definitely shows organization, and then be able to go step one. But the bar association, which is English common law, prevents civilians from having that right in this country. Because if we could do that, they wouldn't be able to do the things that they do to us, like the Supreme Court when they overturned Roe versus Wade. In a civilian society, a civilian person could straight up go to the judges that did that and cry foul in court and take them to court, because the judges would be civilians just as much as a civilian is a civilian. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna close it off because I gotta eat.